So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Qutub Minar, right from the bottom to the top. Looks magnificent. So, lots of people come as tourists out here to visit this entire Qutub complex. And when you plan to come to Qutub Minar, you think of Qutub Minar, but it's actually a Qutub complex where a lot of monuments are present. There are tombs, there are mosques, and then, of course, there is this mighty Qutub Minar. Uh, it has got 5 different stories, starting from the broad base, the first story, the second story, the third, the fourth, and the fifth. Qutub Minar was built in 1199, and the construction went on from 1199 to 1220 apparently, and was built by Qutbuddin Aibak, who was a general in the army of Muhammad Ghori. And it was built as a victory tower to signify the victory of Muhammad Ghori over the then kings of India. Qutbuddin Aibak, of course, built the first story. Iltutmish continued with the second, third, and the fourth story. And finally, in the 14th century, Firoz Shah Tughlaq split the fourth story and added a fifth story as well. So it's got a wonderful history behind it and looks magnificent. In fact, there is a story that Devanand, the superstar Devanand, wanted to film his song from this movie Tere Ghar Ke Samne. The song was called Dil Ka Bhavar Kahe Pukar. It goes like this: Dil ka bhavar kahe pukar, pyar ka raag suno, pyar ka raag suno re. Well, so much about my singing abilities. So he wanted to film the song inside the Qutub Minar. However, during those days the cameras were massive and they couldn't possibly fit inside the area of the Qutub Minar inside. So they couldn't film it over here and they had to use a separate replica to film that song. In fact, if you watch that song, you'll realize that it feels like you're inside the Qutub Minar enclosure. But overall, wonderful place out here. Nice to see these relics of the past, which are part of the heritage of the history of India. Wonderful to be here to watch this mighty Qutub Minar and everything else surrounding it. It's got a little bit of a tragic history behind it as well. And back in 1976, a Czech actress was also the wife of Maharaja Jagatjit Singh, apparently fell from this Qutub Minar and met her fate. A lot of suicide attempts have been made because it's all 73 meters long, and earlier it was possible to go to the top of this Minar as well. So from 2000 onwards, the entry into the Minar was completely stopped to prevent all these incidents. And there you are. And right beside the Qutub Minar, which is present over here, we have this Quwaitul Islam Mosque, which was again built by Qutbuddin Aibak in the 1190s, and it was made by destroying the existing temples out here which were present, and made out of material which those temples were made up of, and looks beautiful with intricate carvings on the pillars. Mostly looks like ruins now, but still you get a vibe of the place, and it's a curious thing. It's actually a mosque, but sometimes you do get a feeling that you are inside a temple. So it's a wonderful amalgamation of cultures out here. It's a mosque, and yet I get a feeling out here that I'm inside a temple. And that's the beauty of India, that you have this boiling pot of cultures which get intermingled, and sometimes you just lose track of what are you looking at? Is it a mosque or is it really a temple? Wonderful scenes At the Qutub complex, at the Kuwaitul Islam Mosque, which was made by Qutbuddin Aibak in the 1190s. So we are at the Kuwaitul Islam Mosque with the wonderful Qutub Minar overlooking it. But I wanted to show you one more monument at the Kuwaitul Islam Mosque, and that is this famous iron pillar out here, which dates back to the 4th century BC. So it's a very, very old iron pillar, has stood the test of times. It's made up of iron and is very famous for its corrosion resistant material. Currently at the base there's an enclosure around which it is surrounded, and you cannot go inside it or not touch it. But earlier I believe you could go inside this enclosure, and legend has it that if you stand with your back against this pillar at its base, and if you wrap your hands around the pillar, taking them backwards, and if your hands touch each other, when you wrap your hands around this pillar behind your back, and if your hands touch each other, then it's a given that all your wishes will come true and that you'll find the love of your life. So wonderful to finally witness this iron pillar as well in this Kuwaitul Islam Mosque at the Qutub complex with this wonderful Minar, the Qutub Minar, standing tall, acting like a lighthouse to the Indian history of the 1190s. So I was talking about the various monuments. So here's a tomb of Iltutmish. Apparently it was built by Iltutmish himself. As is mentioned on the board out here, there is a tomb of Iltutmish, and this side is a madrasa, which was kind of a school which was built by Alauddin Khilji. The sun is right behind it, so it's giving the glow behind it. Looks a magnificent scene. In fact, if I go towards the side, you'll see what I'm talking about, and we get to see the sun over here. And if we go like this, then we hide behind the sun, and it gives an impression of an eclipse. Allahu Akbar.